GLP-1s and microdosing. Shouldn't you or should you? My name is Dr. Arianne Missimer. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, doctor of physical therapy, registered dietitian, and owner of the Movement Paradigm Integrative Health Center. GLP-1 medications like Semaglutide, Ozempic, and Wegovy, and tirzepatide, Mounjaro's Zepbound are everywhere right now, as we know. But what about microdosing? Taking very small doses long term. Is it safe? Is it effective? And are there people who shouldn't take GLP-1s at all? Let's break it down. Let's dive into a little bit of anatomy and physiology. So let's understand what GLP-1s actually are. So GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1, a hormone that's in your gut released after you eat. It ultimately signals to multiple organs. In the pancreas, it tells the beta cells to release insulin and suppress glucagon, which ultimately is going to lower blood sugar. In the stomach, it slows down emptying so you feel fuller for longer. And in the brain, it actually reduces appetite and cravings. In the heart, the kidneys, and the liver, it can help to reduce inflammation, oxidative stress, and fat buildup. Here's the catch. Natural GLP-1s are broken down within minutes. That's why GLP-1 receptor agonist medications were developed. They're long-acting versions of the same hormone that we produce naturally and can give you a sustained effect in terms of blood sugar, appetite, and even heart and kidney health. It's actually considered an incretin hormone that is in the small intestine that's produced by the L cells. So what are GLP-1 medications approved for? So they're FDA approved for type 2 diabetes, obesity and weight management, cardiovascular risk reduction, especially for people with heart and kidney disease, and recently liver disease called MASH, which used to be NASH. Now it is referred to as metabolic associated steatohepatitis, which is ultimately a fatty liver. Microdosing means using much smaller doses than what was tested and approved, like staying at 0.25 milligrams semaglutide long-term instead of titrating up. Some people have even split doses into tiny injections multiple times a week. This has become extremely trendy, especially through compounding pharmacies, but here's the truth. There are no clinical trials or guidelines supporting microdosing at this time. Who should not take GLP-1s at all, microdosing or otherwise? These drugs are powerful, but they're not for everyone. You should definitely avoid them if you have gastroparesis or severe GI conditions, because GLP-1s, as we know, are already going to slow digestion. A personal or family history of medullary thyroid carcinoma or M2 genetic syndrome, which is a strict contraindication. A history of pancreatitis. Of course, if you're pregnant or you're breastfeeding. Safety has definitely not been established here. Diabetic eye disease like retinopathy. There's some risk of progression, especially if sugar drops too quickly. Always make sure to discuss your health history with your provider first and in great detail. Please do not leave anything out because it's very important for someone to provide you with the appropriate recommendations. So what is the evidence for microdosing versus standard dosing? Low doses cause some weight loss, but the strongest, most durable benefits are going to include this double-digit weight loss, heart and kidney protection, liver improvements were all shown at therapeutic doses. No studies thus far have shown that microdosing provides the same particular outcomes. You can still have risks like nausea, gallbladder disease, rare pancreatitis that don't go away even at low doses. So what does work? What is backed by research at this point is slower titration. That means staying at each step longer before increasing so your body can adjust. This is going to improve tolerability while still aiming for a therapeutic dose where the larger benefits that have been proven in the literature are shown. The next big question is, should you or shouldn't you? Only you can answer that. But should you microdose GLP-1s? If your goal is weight loss, heart and kidney or liver production, therapeutic doses are going to be the most effective, not the indefinite microdosing. If you're struggling with side effects, ask your provider about a slower titration instead. That is really important and can be supported from a provider perspective. If you're considering compounded GLP-1s, make sure that they're FDA-approved formulations and not the salt versions that have not been studied as well. If you have high-risk conditions like thyroid cancer, pancreatitis, or pregnancy, GLP-1s are not for you at all. For the people who are just looking for a mild amount of weight loss, this is where I highly encourage you to really look at your current lifestyle factors to be able to understand how are you sleeping sleeping? For example, do you have sleep apnea or upper airway resistance that's contributing to significant metabolic issues? How is your nutrition? Are you not just eating to survive, but are you actually eating to thrive and support your metabolism? Most people that I work with are not consuming nearly enough of their basic energy needs, as well as the vitamins and minerals they need to support metabolism as it relates to cofactors and so support your biochemistry. Most people are under eating, or they're doing just the opposite, which is extremely overeating. And once you can begin to understand your metabolism and how it functions and how your biochemistry is really based on the inputs that you give it, you can make significant change regardless of where you are on your journey, in your health journey, not necessarily your weight loss journey. The last concept that I always like to think about is, are you exercising to support your needs and your changing needs? So whether you are in your 30s or you're in your 40s or you're in your 50s or so forth, all of those things and the demands on your body are different. And so nutrition should change, activity should change to support that. And so my suggestion is that when you're seeking out, should I or shouldn't I think it's really important to take a hard look and an honest look and reflection on your health and see where can you actually make significant changes, and hire someone that can help you on your journey. Whether or not you decide to move forward with the GLP-1s, it is extremely important that you are making behavioral changes, because right now we don't have enough literature to support long-term dosing of GLP-1s. And so with the trend of infinite dosing, I think it's really important to make sure that we're also looking at how we can make changes in our health. So GLP-1s are powerful tools for sure that mimic a hormone that your gut already makes, but how you use them matters. Microdosing may sound appealing, but the evidence just isn't there yet. So if you're considering GLP-1s, please talk to your medical provider and make sure that you're open about your health history and whether it's a good approach for you, whether a standard evidence-based titration is right for you. If this was helpful, please share it with your friends and family. And of course, give us a like and subscribe. Thank you.